Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the pimp slap P.O.D., Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike Money's killers might even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up and welcome in. It's Last Call, Monday, May the 6th, 6 p.m. Thank you all so much for coming in here to see what we got brewing tonight. And it is a nice little slate. We've got ourselves some Major League Baseball. I know our guy Hey Jose will be floating in here momentarily as our resident Monday baseball expert. He's having a hell of a season. We're very curious to see how he's going to go out there and attack the diamond tonight. And then we're attacking the NHL and NBA. We've got ourselves round 2 action between the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins. Of course, yesterday we saw round 2 kicked off in the NHL with the Rangers. And what a battle that game turned out to be with them Carolina Hurricanes, rest versus rust. We got a little bit of a similar situation going on here tonight. Then we go over to the NBA. We've got ourselves another showdown here. Round 2 action in play. We'll have the New York Knickerbockers and them short pants going out there against none other than the Indiana Pacers. Later night action will be involved with the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Could be a fun slate. It's a fun card. We're still waiting for quite a bit of injury news and updates. So we'll keep our eyes kind of glued to that as we get going here. We'll get this show popping off, and then we will bring on Jose and fire away on this card. I know he's got action. He's ready to go. Major League Baseball starts at 6:10. Appreciate all you guys coming in there with us. Joseph Thompson says, hey, Mike M., what's up? Let's get that cash. He's on the Wolves plus 5.5 and the money line. And he's got some colorful language to share about his opinion on Denver. Let's go, Joe T. And then there's Jonathan Manson in the house there. He says, think Boston plus 145 or plus 1 and minus 140. Three-way is worth the consideration. They have success versus Florida, and the layoff may play a role there. Rick J's asking if Gobert is playing patient zero, as they call him. And we do not have an update. He's been downgraded to questionable. Generally, that's not a good sign, which means Naz Reid could be somebody that we will be talking about here. The Futon Bet says, what's up, buddy? Josh Hart triple-double out there for 12-1 action from our guy Futon Bets. Thank you for sharing. Juggler23 says, interesting stat. In the NHL, teams that win a Game 7 in overtime have gone on to win their next series 16 out of 21 times since 2003. That is an interesting stat. Sounds like that's in play for the Boston Bruins. And Jonathan says Boston plus 1.5 minus 190, though a high price. In fact, it is. But hey, you got to go with what you know or what you like in that spot. We'll talk definitely about that game. Excited to break that one down. Wine Time Sports in the house. What up, my brother from another mother says, what up, Mikey Money, the pimp, and Subhuman Gaucho, giving a shout out to all the pubbers in the land. We appreciate you, Sub. Thanks for coming in. Justin McKelvey's got the stacks play of the day. The Knicks over 217.5 for our guy, Justin. And Sub says this is very fascinating stat, Juggler23. I'm smashing Florida tonight, nonetheless. Winner Circle says, Ayo, Bruins money line, Nuggets money line, Anthony Edwards over 5.5 assists there for a little parlay action, it sounds like, from our guy, Winner Circle. We got a new name in the chat. Haven't seen it thus far. Says Red Beard CLC. Interesting to see that name up there. Says, let's pub it up, fellas. Let's pub it up indeed. Let's do just that. Keith in the house. There's my guy Keith says, what up, Mike? Looking forward to these cash plays tonight. And Subhuman says, smaller wagers. Verhage, anytime goal scorer, plus 185 and 2 points at plus 280. I was going to say Tikachuk. Matt Kachuk, 2+ points at plus 220. And Reinhardt, 4+ shots on goal, plus 172. And 5+ shots on goal, plus 375. There it is. Mel in the house. What up, Mel? This is Mike M. The best thing you can do for your life right now is bet Florida game one. Oh, no. Mel says Florida game 1 in the series double at plus 115 in the next hour. Jason Work in the house says, Mike, the man, the myth, the living legend. Let's get it tonight. Let's do just that. Subhuman says same game parlay on the Panthers -1 and the over 5.5 at plus 250. This one's available at Bet Rivers. Most books won't let you parlay the -1, but I like the puck line if you don't have access to Rivers. It's an interesting stat, not just about the game, and thank you for the same game parlay, but the analytical breakdown with the book there, a -1 and a total factor in play out there, and Rivers will let you do it. Thank you for sharing, Sub. Appreciate you, my guy. Also has the Panthers -1.5 for the series. Troy Torrance in the house. What up, Troy? He says Knicks first quarter -1.5. The full game -5.5. The under 217.5. And the Nuggets first quarter -2.5. Dodgers, Mets, and Tigers all in play for our guy, Troy Torrance. Proactively calling out the sweep. Why the hell not? Looks like a good card, my guy. Get your cash. Good luck to you tonight. Gerald Jones says new week, best bet, cash, Philly, first 5, and Wheeler K-prop. Best bet tonight, Tampa Bay Rays -1. Old E in the house. Lee Davis in the house. Going to be a lot of fun, you guys. Appreciate you. Old E coming in there, gifted a membership and blessing our action before we've even pushed the docks off the boat. We appreciate you, Old E, my guy. Thank you for coming in, spending your time with us and helping us grow this pub sports community. And it is time to get going here. I do see an update. Brian Smith in the house. Joseph Thompson says, boots on the ground in Minnesota. Is Gobert a father becoming a daddy? I mean, I guess that's more important than playing in the second round of the NBA playoffs here. But hey, whatever. Who am I to judge? Mel Coin, Gerardo Hernandez in the house. Says, sup, Mike? Mexico Soccer King. Did you see the second half yesterday? Over in the Coxa, my guy, Gerardo Hernandez. Man, we had a lot of fun making some cash this weekend. Subhuman Gotcha says, doesn't sound like Mike M will be joining us. I am not joining on the Florida party. I am not on the Florida party tonight. We'll talk about it, though, for sure. Coin says, what up, Mike and chat? Let's have a Monday. San Diego first 5 money line, -110 in the pocket. There's Caddy Daddy. Says, shout out to the chat and Mikey and Untouchable Jay. Getting us ready to roll here with the LA Dodgers money line, the Angels +2.5, and Seattle +2.5. You guys know the deal here. It's time to get moving. 3 things we ask you to do when it comes to this show. And the first one's just good practice for everybody. Hit that thumbs up button, smash it. Let your voices be heard. And we do that by growing this channel, growing this community. And I need you guys to do your part and press that thumbs up button for us. Bless our action, as our guy Old E did out there. And hit that thumbs up button for us. Keep it going. Let's get the triple digits on the thumbs up today. You guys do your part. We'll do ours. Of course, grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to write down the action that we share out here. Panel, Jose, chat. The chat is so sharper than attack. You know you're going to want to write that action down as well. It's going to stretch throughout the evening. Tons of great looks. We got the parlays. We got props. We got all kinds of things brewing and popping off in the chat. And, of course, last but not least, throw your action in the chat. Let's see what you guys have come to the table with here. We all work together to do the same thing, and that is tackle these bookies, take their cash and stick it in our bankroll. So let's do just that, and let's bring on our Monday Major League Baseball guest here to break down all things across the diamond. It's Jose Bouquet. What up, Jose Bouquet?
Hello, nice to see you. Sorry, my computer was running a little slow there, but it's nice to see you, Mikey, as always. Let me just do a little switcheroo there. All right, yes, it's nice to see you, Mikey. Short card today. Got my ass fucking kicked last night in baseball, so I took it slow today, sticking with some totals. We aligned on one of our bets, and I didn't even know it. It's going on right now, sweating that out, but it's nice to see you, Mikey.
Indeed, we are sweating that out, and it's nice to be seen by none other than you, Jose Bouquet. Fun times hanging out earlier today. The sesh, the boys always get it going, try to get me riled up. Can't knock me down right now, man. We're flying high. These playoffs have been a lot of fun and making a lot of cash. So
yeah, and by the way, I hear word on the street is you're supposed to be around San Antonio next week.
Word on the street is that may be the case here. Got to look at some scheduling. Got to tighten some things up. Sunday is Mother's Day, so have to be cognizant of that. And you got some fans in the chat. Kelsey saying, say, hey, Jose, giving you the shout out, my guy. How about that? You've earned it.
Well, from a person like Kelsey, I appreciate it. So shout out to you, Kelsey. I was honored enough to get the follow back on Twitter from Kelsey. So look at that. Look at that. Going up in the world.
Indeed, you are, Kelsey. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Serious business. And then Coin says Jose equals the raccoon whisperer. We're not going to mention those other 3 letters. We won't mention those other 3 letters, but Jose, let's dig into some baseball here. I know you gave it out earlier. We can just it's just popping off, but high level, let's talk a touch about this Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Guardians game here. Again, just popping off. So got to do what we got to do.
Guess what, Mike? You're going to get a better number on that under because it's already 1-0.
Whoa. Is it really?
Detroit's
already on the board?
Yeah. 1-0 immediately.
Wow. I did not know that. I parlayed Detroit and the under together. Usually those 6-10ers, it's kind of the thing we've rushed to get them in before, but wait to the absolute last second to try to get those things in. So I try not to incorporate those, but I know you were talking about them earlier today. High level it for us here. I know we had a lot of cash coming in on the Guardians, but we had reverse line movement. This thing had 78% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the Guardians. It went from -130 to -115, and the total was dropping. We had 96% of the bets and 96% of the cash on the over, yet it went from 8 to 7.5. Jose, how the hell do you make sense of that?
You just bet into it. That's what you just roll with it. So, and that's what I did, honestly. Maybe I made my caps a little bit too simplistic today, using the market, but I mean, Mikey, it's just classic. We see that shit every day, and I'll just keep taking the unders in those situations. Now, the nice part about this, if you're a betting man and you're watching right now wanting some action, you can take the under 8.5 -126. And Mikey, I just am betting that as we speak, and hopefully now I'm getting -132, which is a little disgusting. But I'll let you know when this bet goes through, and it officially has. So I'm in officially at the under 8.5 here as well. So there you go, doubled up on it now.
I like it. I'm going to take the 8, just a flat 8.
I got -132. It's pretty disgusting, but
it's interesting when we were talking about this over the weekend too with some of these live bets, specifically hockey for me, but hitting the same number, not the new number you get, but the adjusted number or the original number going back down. So you're adjusting back to the original platform has been financially lucrative. And sometimes those early slips there, right? You say it, I know you talk about it all the time. Pitcher kind of goes through that first inning, kind of loose, things get adjusted, they clamp down, and your original number is still back in play. So something I've been taking advantage of specifically this past weekend was, looking at these numbers that I capped originally and then coming back to them and saying, all right, well, if you're giving me, in this case, it's back to 7.5 at -110, but there's value to be had out there. Something to keep in mind for all you boys and girls in live bet land out there. If we're not doing a stream to kind of shepherd you folks through the process, then bear that in mind. Just because there's that early reaction or early action doesn't mean you need to have the overreaction out there. And I like that you're going right back to it, Jose. I think that shows the confidence in the play. And I'm telling you, my guy, let's go. Let's move on.
Let's ride. And you're on the Tigers, huh?
I am. I did like the Tigers today. There's a couple reasons behind it. One of the trends that I track there is kind of that line movement. I was joking with Troy the other day. I said it kind of feels like, I know it's not the cash cow, but he talks a lot about the line variable or the line nuances out there. And when the line's between a +114 and a +160 and a -120 off a loss, the Detroit Tigers are that team. They are 37-5 in those positions, 37-5. We've got another game that I'll have action on tonight, but the under is also in play in those spots, 15-25 to the under. Road team between -120 and +160 on the road off a loss. Pretty straightforward. Road loss, small favorite, medium dog. Play the team and play the under.
Well, I'm on the under with you, so let's ride here. And there's 2 outs on the the top of the 8th here in the Phillies games. There's a guy on. We need this under as well. Jason, work on it.
Some things got a little leaky there today. It was humming along 0-0 in the 4th inning.
Yeah, and Bryce Harper decides to be good at baseball, huh? What an asshole.
I said before, the 3 most important people to the city of Philadelphia. You got Ben Franklin, you got Bryce Harper, you got Jalen Hurts. That's the order.
Okay, fair. Fuck Joel Embiid. That's funny.
Gonna have to do a lot of work to unseat good old Ben Franklin out there. He invented electricity, Jose.
Sure. I mean, yeah, kite, key, static electricity, the whole thing. I mean, basically, the 76ers are only the Benjamin Franklin. So shout out to old Ben. Have you licked the Liberty Bell? Mikey, by the way, strikeout. So middle of the 8th.
I have. Did you ask if I licked the Liberty Bell?
Yeah, have you licked the Liberty Bell before?
I have not had the pleasure of licking the Liberty Bell. I don't even know how you would get close enough to lick the Liberty Bell. There was a time when they were moving the Liberty Bell. So there was a little, when I was living in Philadelphia, that they had it all boxed up, threw it on some wheels, and then dragged her down the street. So everybody got to see the Liberty Bell in action. But no, I'm not sure that I can say that I actually. Okay. Have you ever? I mean, that's kind of
no. I've never been to Philadelphia, or I haven't been to Philadelphia in my adulthood. So hoping I might be there in the summer though. So we'll see.
Ooh, that's a fun town to be. I'll tell you what. Speaking of Ben Franklin, here's a fun little rabbit hole to jump into. Go take a look at what was found in the basement of the house he lived at when he spent time out there in London.
Okay.
Sneak peek. There's like 200 dead bodies. Were they his? Was it the guy that was living there before him? Who knows? Who knows? But it's a true story. Jose. Ben Franklin, house he lived at in London. Check it out. Let's move on, Jose. With all that fun knowledge that's out there, everyone's here to talk about some baseball action. I added a play here. So I'm getting the Untouchable Jay says, get the cheesesteak at John's Roast Pork. I'll tell you what, skip the cheesesteak and get yourself a roast pork sandwich with the broccolini on top of it. My guy, Untouchable Jay, you know what I'm saying? The Reading Terminal Market, my guy. Get in there. Got to have that action out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jackson says Jim Steak is dope too. There's so many good spots out there. Sonny's on 2nd and Old City's a great spot as well. But let's get back to baseball, Jose. Get me hungry. I'll tell you what. I take a drive down to Philly just for a fucking cheesesteak at this point. I know when I came back home, when I would visit back home, my brother would always tell me there was a pizza place that he liked and a cheesesteak place that he liked. And he was always like, grab me a couple of each. And I was like, dude.
A couple.
I'm not going to drive 5 hours back in a car with 3 or 4 cheesesteaks, just stinking the place up the whole time. But anyhow, Jose, it definitely is worth the trip. 6:50 p.m., Jose Bouquet. We've got a little surprise move here. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting to move on this here. But we've got the White Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. No idea where the line opened, but we do have a minus 165 on the Tampa Bay Rays. 89% of the bets and 98% of the cash on Tampa Bay. Now, the Sticks are back alive in Tampa Bay. That was the challenge that they had there to start the season off. The AL East, kind of a battle for territory out there, and they were losing the battle. The war is still in play, though. The total has moved from 7.5 to 8.5, Jose. Immediate red flags. 96% of the bets, 97% of the cash on the over. It's moved that full point. We have Alexander on the bump. The Tampa Bay's man's got a 5.02 ERA. And Clevenger getting out there, throwing it around. He's got a 0.0 ERA. Of course, it's a travel spot as well for this White Sox team. Rolling on into Tampa Bay. And shout out to them White Sox. They made me some good money the last 2 games. I know that our first 5 got cooked in one of those days. I think you and I were both looking at a White Sox first 5. I think that was Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was with Lance Lynn, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was really annoying.
Back-to-back W's, though. How about that? Plus 154, plus 138. And the line is dipsy doodling here. We got ourselves down to a 143 is the best number you can get for the White Sox. But it's the option that I choose to attack in this game, Jose, that I'm very curious to talk about. First of all, any thoughts on this game from yours truly? I know you're having a tremendous baseball season. Any action we can glean from your experience here, we're all eager and looking forward to.
Well, I haven't moved on this game. I don't think I am, but I will say this is good old Mike Clevenger's MLB debut this year. He's been in AAA for 2 starts, which is kind of surprising. Only 2 starts. I mean, obviously he got a late start because he was signed late, but that was pretty surprising to see only 2. 4 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs on a home run, 4 Ks, 1 walk there, and then 3 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 2 walks. Nothing really too overwhelming here, but if I had to make a bet in this game, it'd definitely be White Sox here. I just think the Rays are a bad team. So no action for me. Son of a fucking bitch.
I just got to send.
Yeah, fucking Schwarber.
Was it Ben Franklin? Oh, it was Schwarber?
No, it was Schwarber. So we're at the 7 now. So no more runs in this game. Well, luckily for us, the Phillies are up. So we only need 3 more outs.
3 more outs, baby. Let's go. Jose, I'm taking a look at the total here. So we've got another one that's in play. I'm surprised you didn't mention it earlier, but we will talk about it later. However, I love to get a target on certain teams and how they perform in certain times of the series. Sometimes they're correlated to days of the week. It just so happens the White Sox are the team that we're going to target in this monstrosity here. Tampa Bay, I mentioned the bats have come back to life a little bit here, and the White Sox have found themselves a nice little W streak against them Cards, who I thought were probably overrated to begin with here. I'm certainly looking to fade them this season as often as I can. But the angle that I choose to attack in this game is the unders. First of all, the White Sox in game one of a series are 1-10. They're rivaling the Miami Marlins in the first game of a series. 1-10 are the White Sox in the first game of a series. It's the under that's got the legs for me. It's 3-7 to the under with a push in there. But the under I choose to handle is 2 spots here. I haven't done it that often this season, but the White Sox team total under 3.5 at a nice -110 is in play. And the under 8.5 at a -115 was the number that I was able to lock up a little bit ago, a short time ago, as I got privy to what's going on in that spot there. -115s are still available on the 8.5. Jose, this is to be the full run switcheroo. This thing's moved to run. We talked about when it goes from 7.5s to 7s or 6.5s. We've talked about the 4s to 3.5s. The reverse head fakes there. I'm not so sure that this is the reverse head fake game, but to me, this is more of an opportunity to fade this White Sox team that did just come off of some success in the travel spot, moving down to the Trop, double dipper. Under 3.5, -110, Chicago White Sox team total. Their lack of success, they're averaging just 1.2 runs a game in the first game of a series, Jose.
Jesus. That's horrific.
Dynamite dropping, my guy, Jose. What do you want to talk about next, Jose? Let's keep this thing rolling, my guy.
Yeah. T, I'm sure has the list of games coming up here, but I only had not many games or not many bets here today, and I'm excited to chat with them. By the way, we're in the 9th inning now, thankfully. But my other bet here was in Texas, Oakland.
All right.
Andrew Heaney, Alex Wood, and yeah, does Andrew Heaney inspire confidence? No. Does Alex Wood inspire confidence? No. But it's just another one of these situations, Mike. And again, maybe I'm over or under complicating things. And I've got my ass handed to me the last kind of 2 days doing this, but it's been working all year and I'll keep doing it. All the money on the over, unsurprisingly here, Mikey. I mean, again, with Heaney and fucking what's his name, Wood on the bump, your first inclination would be to bet over 91% of the money and 91% of the bets on this over here. But this opened up at an 8. We're at a 7.5 now. I like to say, or I'm sure everyone likes to say, that Vegas doesn't give out free money. And I don't think that they're going to make bets more appealing for us to bet when all that money is on one side. So I just took the full game under here. I didn't want to overcomplicate it with a first 5 under or anything like that. So I just took full game under here, 7.5 -115. And hopefully the Heen Dog, Oklahoma State alum, by the way, go Pokes. Hopefully, hey, he can come through for me, and so can Alex Wood.
Guys, smash the thumbs up button. We got one and only Jose Bouquet up in the house here. Steak Bet Bouquet, as he's known around some of the parts out there.
Yeah, I've been getting my ass kicked in those bets too. Fucking A.
All these steaks that you're giving away. Somehow I haven't gotten one. I don't understand. I don't know if we I have a general principle though, Jose. A general principle, general philosophy.
Sure.
I try not to bet my boys in anything. So at the end of the day, I don't want to be in that compromised situation where you have to hand me cash or a steak, or I got to publicly berate you for not handing me cash or a steak.
No, I think people tend to love to do that with me though. So it's okay. And if you Mikey, if we are on opposite sides of a steak bet here in the next few days, maybe you'll get it next week.
I just try to get myself in a position where I can take the bookies' money, right? What are they saying? 2 for the money? I want your bookies' money, not your money. Let's go get this game. I'll talk about this one here. I'll tell you what surprised me was this Texas Rangers the last 2 games. I know it's Kansas City. I'm not sure the beat I have on Kansas City thus far. I'll tell you, I love playing Kansas City when they're in nerfy situations the next day. They're a tremendous record. They find a way, at least for the first part of the order, to shut things down. But Man, Texas, excuse me, I just talked about Tampa Bay coming to life. Texas, 15-4 against Kansas City. Game number 2 of the series. They roll out there yesterday. They end up winning again. A squirter out there, 3-2 to get the job done. Had some success the series before that at the Nationals, but second end of the road trip here, or the second leg of this road trip for them. I'm inclined to believe that Oakland has the bounce back ability in here. It does concern me. It does make me a little bit suspect that we've got a situation here, but comfortable settings. Pittsburgh series at home, Miami series at home. They handled Miami 20-4 in game number 2. Now, I kind of dismissed. They were running red hot, but the 20-4 ass kicking and thrashing that was, I'm not surprised they lost 12-3 the next day. Everybody was
I'm not either.
And you've kind of got the blown load theory, right? You blow your load, takes a little bit of time to recharge the batteries.
Yeah, I agreed wholeheartedly too. I called it out. That was one of the rare things I got right yesterday. I was saying there's a red flags. This looks like a trap. Why is it the same line after getting their ass kicked last night, et cetera, et cetera. And that turned out to be right. Did I bet anything on it? No, but hopefully people listened that did not bet the A's that day.
Well, I'm on the A's. I'm rolling with them there. I like this opportunity. It's plus 122 now, so I'm not excited about that last couple of cents of movement against, but I guess it is what it is, Jose. Let's. No,
I mean, you've heard me. I think this Oakland A's team is going to battle for a playoff spot all year. I think this is going to be one of the better Oakland A's teams we've seen in quite a while. So I like your action.
Yeah, I said it preseason. People were hating on Oakland again, and I said, first of all, we haven't seen them play. It's hard to say. It's hard to discount anybody day one, but when a situation's evolving where you've got, think about any. I guess from my personal experiences there, you work for a boss that you don't want to be a part of, that you can't stand out there, and they're getting rid of them and they're bringing somebody new, and all of a sudden you come to work a little more recharged. They didn't want to play in Oakland. That was just not a good spot for them. The stadium battles, that kind of wears on you and kind of hangs over you like a black cloud. And, you're dodging lightning bolts out there just to come to work every day. So now they got this new horizon, this new hope, this new breath of life that is Las Vegas. And what a beautiful looking stadium that they're going to have built for them right there on the strip. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, I got a pep in my step when I'm coming to work. I'm trying hard. I'm staying extra. I want the ownership to see that I'm the solution, not the problem. And I think that's the opportunity for this Oakland team. We've seen them start the season off, pretty tremendously right now. So good call. Like the look, like the play. I like your under 7.5. I know our Dabby Cab is on the team total over 4 for that Texas team out there. Kind of concerning that he's trying to fit right in between your under 7.5 and my Oakland plus 122 spot. What do you think about that action?
Well, I'd be more concerned if Dabby thought about betting it and then didn't end up betting it. That right there would be we would be fucked there, Mikey, with the old waffle play of the day. So I'm glad he ended up betting it for our sake here. By the way, 1-1 in the Guardians now, so that's a little annoying, but it's okay.
All right, it's
at
early.
least single digits are fine.
It's early. Let's keep her moving, Jose. Let's talk about the next game on the agenda. Fortunately, T, I'm not sure if it's mine or Jose's play here, but there's something on the screen and we'll start talking about it.
Oh boy, I'm excited to see what happens here.
There we go. We got the Mariners and the Twins next up on deck here. And this one is one of those games I had previously talked about. The play is in play now because this line has moved down. We've got 58% of the bets and 84% of the cash on the Mariners. They've moved from minus 122 to minus 120, but not so fast. The Minnesota Twins have gone from plus 104 to plus 105. So I would call that kind of a middled line movement situation. The entire planet, 97% of the bets, 97% of the cash on the over. It's gone from 7.5 to an 8, Jose.
Cash your bets, Mikey.
We got nice. That's
cash your
start the day. Let's go. Let's go.
Really good. Cash the bets. Easy. Wasn't sweaty at all.
Parlayed that minus 1.5 with that under as well. And that was good money. So I'm excited to hit the refresh button. But before we get there, we've got Luis Castillo going out there for Seattle and Woods Richardson. Admittedly, I don't have a lot of experience with this guy, but seems like a thing. It's a hyphenated last name. Seems like I don't even want to say what I think about situations in that case. I don't want to put the foot in my mouth. But
Sure.
Richardson here with a 2.46 ERA has found a 1-0 win with this Minnesota team. We know Minnesota was so hot. They had themselves they had a 12-game winning streak, that Minnesota Twins team. And
so the Red Sox bare bottomed them last night. They took out the paddle, you know.
Yeah, they
Baby
put the
seal.
The baby seal, club him down, drag him home, play of the day. Let's go. I was
really hoping they would win just so we could fade them today, but we'll take it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is double dip for me. This is a double dip opportunity. Marcus McCarthy says, quick 200 to start the day. Shout out to you, Marcus McCarthy.
There's no better feeling, Mikey. Well, obviously, cashing any bet's great, but cashing your first bet,
yeah.
Oh my God, there's no better feeling.
I'll tell you a little secret, Jose. It's not well known, but that being said, shout out to my boy Dutch there, giving me the old DM, slide in there, telling me good work. Let's go. Little known secret, I stopped playing a lot of overnight action. I used to like to degen out with tennis, soccer, some of the Australian rugby and stuff like that. But the one reason I chose to stop playing it, Jose, I don't like waking up with a loss under the belt. It's not something I know the most about. I don't want to do the research all day on the mainland and then have to go over there and work all night on European stuff. So I found that it's a little less stressful. I'm not in such a chase reactive position when I'm sitting down with a piece of toast and a cup of coffee trying to think that, oh shit, I'm already down 2 plays from that KBO that I didn't even get a chance to watch.
I understand that. We went to Vegas one time, me, Jeff Slaughter, and Preston for a Pub Sports Radio Vegas trip, and they went to just go bet UFC China shit at like 5 a.m. Vegas time. And I remember them waking up to just losses. And I just remember like, damn, this fucking sucks. Waking up to just a shitload of losses is horrible. So yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly there.
It's like the built up rhythm as you start gambling, like I'm not a 1 play a day type of guy. So for me, I get in there, I start going, you start getting confidence, you start getting excited, you start believing in the bets that you've made even more. You start stacking things up, letting them fly. You start throwing a couple parlays together. Next thing you know, you're up a big comma. On the other side of things, when you wake up and you're 0-2, you didn't even see the game. You hit the refresh button and you're down cash. It's like shit. My whole mindset is compromised at that point. But
now I will say, the other day, Jimmy gave me a play. Yeah, I think it was the Mariners. And I was tired. It was like 9 o'clock, and for some reason I was exhausted. So I went to bed. But I told Jimmy, I was like, I was so confident in your bet cashing. I don't need to see that shit cash. I just woke up, I knew that was money. So shout out to Jimmy. And it's nice waking up to those winners on the opposite side.
Always feels good to come home with a W. Speaking of W's here, though, Jose, I'm rolling in here with our guy, Luis Castillo. I think this is the opportunity for us to take advantage of here. There has been some late movement here in just the last hour. The best first 5 is minus 134. And the best full game is minus 120. So movement in the right direction. That's what I want to see. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the minus 134. I would prefer it not to be there, but it's this Twins team. And, the angle for me, this is the one that I had talked to you about just a little bit ago. When you got those teams between minus 120 and plus 160, they're in that 37-5 range right now. So very much the play for me with this team now also triggering in that situation. But they are off a win, not a loss. So that is a factor. Nonetheless, I like to see the movement. Kind of an interesting spot because Seattle found a way to go out there and handle, what was going on down there. And it feels like they kind of own Houston to some degree, I think. But, winning the last 2 games.
They need to if they're going to win that division.
Kelly V in the house. What up, Kelly? She says, Castillo, 3 good outings, like him too. Yeah, I think he can. That's why I wanted the first 5 and the full game in this case here. It's just a double dipper for me. I just got to make a quick update on the juice out there. I don't want to take the juice, but in this case here, it's reasonable. It's not like we're coming in here busted out minus 220s. Telling you guys.
Fair. Mikey, best bet Dodgers minus 300, right? But Mikey, I have a random question for you. I think those are all the MLB games.
They're not all the MLB games, but that's okay. Fire away. I got one left.
Well, no, I'll ask my question at the end. We'll build up. We'll tease it then.
Teaser
for the people. That'll be the thing I leave on. But yes, go ahead. Last game for you, I think.
I'm eagerly anticipating this teaser that you're dropping out there. 7:45 Eastern time. Speaking of the devil, the Mets
boy.
and the Cardinals. You know the deal. We've got a home favorite, game one of a series in the St. Louis Cardinals. And this line, 73% of the bets, 56% of the cash, though. Kind of a split with the cash. More cash coming in on the Mets at plus 116 is the number that's out there right now. And an 8 that is frozen like a block of ice here. It started at 8. It's sitting at 8. 68% of the bets on the over, 67% of the cash. It's double dip city for me. This one is very much the play. Coming off that loss in that situation out there, I got Mania at 3.07 ERA. And Bob, fuck yourself, Gibson. I know it's Kyle Gibson, but Bob Gibson's there's a couple Bob Gibsons, I'm sure. He's a barbecue guy, though. 3.79 ERA for this guy that likes to go out there and get cooked. And I got to fade away. I'm double fading on this one here. This is, again, the first 5 full game opportunity for me. I look specifically at the first 5 because I want to fade Gibson. I'm okay with Mania. He's not in my staple, this Mania guy, but I'm okay with him. The Mets bats are what I'm more focused in on here. I see that total at 8. I'm not excited about that thing not moving up. Seems like that means these pitchers might come out there and shove, to quote my guy, Jose Bouquet. But these Cardinals, you just got bitch slapped by the White Sox on your home turf twice. You lost 2 games to Detroit as well. Inconsistency at best here. Give me this Mets opportunity. I want the first 5. I want the full game here. Like I said, I'm fading away on Gibson. I'm also playing in on our first game of the series fade. Plus 116 is the best full game number now. The first 5 is sitting at plus 106. So modest situation there with these numbers, but we know that, again, travel spot, back-to-back situations, and I just talked to you guys about that road situation. Now let's talk about St. Louis. When they're a favorite in the first game of a series, they're 10-25 over their last 35. First game of a series starts out there in the favorite role. 10-25 is plenty enough opportunity for me to continue to jump in and take plus money stabs at him. Jose, what do you think? Surprised you forgot the St. Louis first game of the series, Trent.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Fuck, Mikey. You're right. I think I might have to join you. Shit. Just I wasn't gonna join you until you just said those last magical words. St. Louis, obviously, we know. What's the record at this point now, Mikey? You have it in front of you?
It's 10-25, them Cardinals in the first game of a series as a favorite. 10-25 in the first game of a series for the Cardinals as a favorite. You want to go out there and lay a minus 135 for the Cardinals? The minus 1.5 plus 158. It tells you how shaky everyone thinks this St. Louis team can be. They expect it to be a tighter game. No movement on the line. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Mets win this thing 3-1. Big explosion in the second inning on Kyle Gibson out there. And it's, the Mets that are able to take advantage of it. Probably a Pete Alonso bomb. Why not?
I'm on with you.
Let's go.
I just took it. Full game money line for me.
Guys, there was one last spot that I had to talk about. I don't have a play on it, but I wrote it down. It's a smaller card, so a little bit of a deeper dive when it comes to some of these trends. This Padres and Cubs game is out there, and we know
tough game.
I thought it was a very tough game. We got Darvish on the mound. Darvish on the mound for the San Diego Padres. 3.45 ERA, and Superman Justin Steele out there with a 1.93 ERA as well. Tough situation. I just wanted to kind of talk this one aloud for you guys. First of all, when you got a home favorite on a line of a 7, those home favorites are 20-4. 20-4. 20 wins, 4 losses in favor of the home favorite in those spots out there. The challenge for me here is the reaction and how the locker room unfolds when it comes to, the news of Luis Ariz moving on over to San Diego. It seemed like they were all tuckered in and ready to shut the season down, but mixed messaging because you got, Juan Soto goes over to the New York Yankees, yet they go spend an arm and a leg on that heat says Alonso's not in the lineup. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense for him to get a home run in the second, then would it? How about Nemo?
God damn it.
Give me Nemo anyways. That's fine. Nemo, whatever. But as I'm looking at this San Diego team, they pick up Dylan Cease. They drop a small Brinks truck on that guy. And then they go and they make that move for Ariz. Kind of, I would say they improved their batting. Addition by subtraction. Juan Soto getting aged and expensive. And you got this up and comer, a lot of fun to watch in Luis Ariz. So I didn't get a play on this game. I will say that first game of a series trend, or if you look at that home favorites on a 7, I know it's 20-4, 20 wins, 4 losses. It's 5-3 though in the first game of a series. So think about that. It's 15-1 if it's not the first game of the series. It's 5-3 if it is the first game of the series. Just wanted to kind of throw that out there for you guys. I know that, you guys love these trends and the analysis that goes kind of into some of these games, but worth noting, we'll keep an eye. Home favorites on a 7 this season, Jose. Home, not necessarily the first game of the series, but home favorites on a 7 should send a light bulb off to jump in on that home favorite. So, Jose, that does it for MLB tonight. I was joking earlier today about the LA Dodgers spot there. This is a tricky one for me because I'd have to go out there and probably lay -2.5 is plus 110. I don't know. I mean, what the hell are the Marlins doing? The Marlins packed it all in there. We got Walker Buehler making his first debut out there, and then we've got Munoz on the other side with a 2.46 holding it down, but probably some disruption out there. I can't imagine that Marlins players feel good about themselves when they wake up today and find out that their boy is out of the lineup. Troy Torrance says Dodgers win 7-1. Troy, I was tempted to go up to a -3.5 or a 4.5. Let me just take a look at that while we're here. And,
yeah, I passed. I considered taking the Marlins, honestly, at the -300, but obviously the cash cow is the Dodgers, so I stayed off of that. I know better.
Yeah, we're not trying to get cute and fade that thing out there. Coin says Miami in that 1-10 free. I know, Coin. I know. I totally get, and it makes a ton of sense to get involved. I don't know if the pricing scares me away here. I'm just taking a look. The Dodgers -2 is -128. -2.5 goes down to 100. Quarter movement to -3. Another quarter, 40 cents, 50 cents. Seems to me that the -4.5 range is where the books. Yeah, I would say that -4 or -4.5 is the number you got to lay in that Dodgers game. I try to look, Jose, at when I go with these adjusted lines, where does the gap or the spacing between the number and the value start to kind of jump off the page? So everything starts out at a quarter gap between the -1 and -1.5. Then it gets to 50 cents. When you get to that 4.5 to 5, it's almost an 80-cent swing or fluctuation in there. So the books are concerned at 4.5. They're not concerned at 5.5s or greater. So probably a 5-run win for this LA Dodgers spot out there. Not mad at anybody. I might get myself there. It's just aggressive here to jump in and take them. I'd have to do some line shopping for -4.5 to make sure I'm getting the best number out there if I'm laying that kind of number. What do you think?
That's fair. I expect all those to cash too, because again, cash cow's the best fucking ROI of any play for Troy Torrance, apparently. So shout out to Troy there.
Shout out to our guy, Troy Torrance. He says he parlayed the Dodgers and the Phillies, those are both the cash cow spots out there. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he did either as well, though. But yeah, no, Phillies won easily too. So that just proves the power of the cash cow.
Cash cow, baby. Jose, I know we're at the end of our Major League Baseball segment. We're going to transition over to the NHL and the NBA. We got plenty of time, though. Those games don't start. I think the first game for the Knicks is like 7:40, and I believe 8 p.m. is the hockey puck drop out there. But I believe you had a question. You gave us the teaser, and you have a question.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I already forgot. But yes, I'm watching the baseball game as we speak, and the one thing I miss about playing baseball was being a left-handed catcher and then catching kids that throw super slow and just pretending like I was Tim Thomas and being a goalie back there. And that's the thing I miss the most. What do you miss the most about playing hockey?
It's a good question, Jose.
I know. I asked good question. A 3-0 fly out ends the second inning 1-1 still.
I would say running a guy fucking full speed into the boards and trying to fucking crush him. I probably missed that the most. I mean, it hurts sometimes too, but nothing better than dropping your shoulder into some poor son of a bitch that's sitting in the corner trying to dig the puck out and knowing you're coming in at him like a wrecking ball. And he better not turn his back because it could mean paralysis. So that's the that's probably what I missed the most. A couple other things. I was not the most sportsman oriented player. So Can you believe it? The feeling of bare fist to some poor son of a bitch's jaw was always a fun feeling. And I'll tell you another move that I had that was a lot of fun. It's called the cup check, Jose. You can imagine exactly what it is. You just for safety, I wanted to make sure that the players that I was up against were wearing their support
Protective equipment.
So I would take, it's required protective equipment. How can you not have it out there? But I would take my stick when they're sitting in front of, I was a defenseman. So when they're sitting in front of the net from behind it, give them the fucking, let me tell you, that has an overreaction to it. That move there has an immediate overreaction. It's an unnecessary. It's an unnecessary reaction. The, because win or lose, right? You have it on or you don't have it on, it still hurts. So
that's true. Yes. No, win, lose, or draw, that still hurts. So
yeah,
I can only imagine that the reactions you would get from that.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And yeah. So that.
Well, your producer T, by the way, Mikey, he's still a young athlete. That guy's just fighting. He's the next UFC great over there. So watch out.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I think you and T combined are the producer show host combo that could kick anyone else's asses at Pub Sports Radio. I think
T messed around. He almost found out there. He was telling me I was getting a little agent. So I don't.
Oh boy,
I didn't want to have to. I didn't want to have to get involved with it. I didn't want to have to get involved with my guy T out there. All respect on the ones and twos, holding it down, keeping it right. So. Oh, good, Jose, man. What a great time to have you in here. Did you look at any basketball or NHL? Do you want to talk some playoffs?
Fuck no. I hate the NHL. I hate the NBA, excuse me. I will say that my ears, all I've heard of an NBA is Anthony Edwards love, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Can the Wolves really beat this Nuggets team? So they just keep throwing a bunch of bodies at Jokic. I'm like, oh, man. So I'm kind of in the boat where I think the Wolves come out of the West right now, which is pretty weird to say, obviously. And Anthony Edwards is just becoming the face of the league. But I'm excited for a Wolves-Celtics NBA Finals. It's going to be fun.
Wolves and Celtics, huh? That's a bold proclamation.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be fun. And, obviously – the NHL was hilarious, Mikey, because I was watching Game 7, Bruins Leafs. I was just watching and laughing. Once they scored, I texted one of my friends from Canada, and I was like, I bet you feel good right now. You feel good, you feel confident. And then, the Bruins came back and won. It was very funny. So it was a great time. But, yeah, it's going to be a great time watching these games. I'll at least watch them. I won't have any action on them. And we'll be betting these unders for sure. Resisting it all, I got you. Just to recap for those in the back, sitting far back there, what our plays are. I have, and I'll even give out the sesh parlay that we bet, or I bet it earlier at least, and you guys can tail or fade at whatever you want to do. Actually, one of the legs already cashed. Shout out to you, Mikey.
Sure.
But Tigers, Guardians under 7.5. I got that at -125. Rangers, A's under 7.5, -115. And I also bet Guardians, Tigers live under after that first run scored 8.5 at -132 is what I got for that. So I doubled up in those unders in the Guardians game. And they also tailed Mikey money on the Mets money line +122 for me there. So that's exciting. And the sesh parlay. Everyone in the sesh this morning gave a leg. Mikey's leg of the Phillies game under 7.5 already cashed. So maybe you guys can take the adjusted one here. But it was Nuggets. I took the money line to be safe, but they said spread. Knicks first half. I did the same thing there. Money line to be safe. The Phillies game under, which we talked about. The Rangers game under 7.5, -115. And according to Troy, what is going to be the losing leg of this parlay, and I kind of hope if it is going to lose, it would be funny if it lost on this last leg, because then we can give Dabby Cab a bunch of shit about it. Padres first 5 money line here as well. So I'm on that. You guys can bet the sesh parlay if you please, but it's going to be a nice loaded card here. I'm obviously not going to make the sesh parlay official, but if it wins, I will win a little under the Martin Drexler horse money that I won last week, and that would be nice.
Well, shout out to you for giving me that Marty Drexler horse call on, was that Saturday? I believe that was Saturday.
Yeah, that was Saturday. That was his other horse. Yeah, it was easy money there, Mikey. Come on.
Just a blind tale of my guy, Jose Bouquet. I don't do that often of anybody. So shout out to you for guiding
especially
me.
when it comes to horses.
Wow. I mean, listen, you know where I believe the cash is at in them straps, but
Sure.
But I'll listen to you. You will be my guide when it comes to Marty Drexler and all things that are his horse racing abilities out there. So shout out to you. That was a lot of fun on Saturday. Made a ton of cash. You talk about that Bruins game. There was nothing to laugh about for me with that Bruins game. I went in there heavy, a double unit play for me on the Bruins off the hop. And I don't know, about 10 minutes into the game, I live bet just a smidge under another $1,000 on the Bruins. And about 30 seconds, actually it was maybe a minute later, they get scored on. It's 1-0. That minus 150 turned out to be a plus 200. I was like, are you kidding me? And I already dumped the truck on it. So
she can't dump it again.
Overtime was sweaty. I did sprinkle it again after that, but at that point I figured, you know what, what are we really doing here? Let's just get this game and move on. So that being said, Jose, always a pleasure to have you around, my guy. We expect to see your success here as we evolve through the baseball season. You're having a hell of a season. Let everybody know what's the record, what's the unit count, and let's keep it going, my guy.
Yeah, so we appreciate all the people that watched Say Hey Plays Tuesday through Friday on Betting with the Bag and the Low Shack show with Pete there on Tuesdays, and me solo on Sunday and Saturdays there with our guests. I got my fucking just tits destroyed yesterday. It was not. I didn't think it was bad capping, more of the shitty luck. Like, of course, I had the Mets money line. They lose in extras, which was really annoying. I had the Nationals first 5 full game. They score fucking 11 runs, and of course, they lose, or they lose first 5, but they ended up coming through. It was just all just bullshit like that. But I'm excited to keep going here. I'm 121 and 109, up 15 units still on the season. So just need to keep the boat going straight here. That's why I had a smaller card today. We're 1-0, and we're about to sweep today's board with all these picks. I'm excited to get into it. So shout out to you, Mikey. Saturated, Troy Torrance, Little Domo, Marcus, Coin, my guy Wine Time, Resisting It All, Al Cervix, Kelly, Justin McKelvey in here, Nathan Cerna, Eric Rosas, Leonard Porsche, all you guys, Winner Circle, Michael Buelna in here as well. So thank you guys all for watching. As always, I'll be back again on Low Shack and the Bag tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't know what that is. West Coast time, because I don't do that time. So thanks everyone for watching. Mikey, good fucking luck. We need it. We need to come through today, and let's cash these unders.
Let's get that money, my guy. Jose, appreciate you rocking with us out there, you guys. Real treat to get Sweet Tea Bouquet in there and even mixing it up, giving a little my guy T out there to Ron on the 1s and 2s, giving him a little shout out in the action as well. T, let's move on. We got NHL and the NBA to talk about next. Let's go to the NHL. Let's just get this game in and out. 7:30 for the NBA, 8 p.m. for the NHL. And the Bruins are rolling on down to Florida. Big battle here. The East is loaded with talent right now. This Rangers-Carolina series. Oh, my goodness. If you watched Undisciplined Hockey and all them penalties created out there, that was a lot of fun to watch that game. Now we've got the other leg here of the Eastern Conference. The Bruins and the Panthers out there. What a battle this has been. Previous matchups in this conference here, this season rather, feels a lot like the Dallas Stars situation. Boston's owned them. 4 straight wins this season for the Boston Bruins out there. And if you want to talk motivation spots, let's not forget the embarrassment that was the end of last season out there. President's Cup champions get knocked out in the first round by said Florida Panthers. What a rematch they've got brewing out here for this thing. And, certainly the advantage. The Florida Panthers have themselves that nice little extra bump in rest out there. They only had a 5-game series. They downed Tampa Bay 4-1. Having won each time on their home ice, they split. They took one of those games against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. That was the second game. We were all over that series. We nailed that series like a split hog. Then we look on the other side of things with this Boston Bruins team, and Boston had to go deep. They had to deal with adversity. They had a split in the series 1-1 on their home ice. They surprised everybody. They shocked at least the Canadian part of the world out there, going out there, taking both games in Toronto, going back home 3-1 series lead. Then Toronto fights. They get to a 3-2 situation. They beat them 2-1. Toronto beats them again 2-1 out there. And then Boston Bruins closed the series out there on Saturday. It was an overtime game. Jonathan Manson says 2 Tampa Bay goals were disallowed in that last Tampa game too. It was disappointing, but their time was done. It was Bobrovsky's series. Now, speaking of Bobrovsky, let's be fair. Let's be honest. He's had himself a Vezina Trophy type season out there. Best goaltender in the league for sure. He's been out there. You know, you look at Hellebuck and what they did. They fell apart in the playoffs. This guy has been running. But his playoff numbers are definitely down. Despite it being a 4-1 series, they were able to get the wins. He went 4-1. He's regressed to a 2.78 goals against average, 89.6% save percentage. Again, we talked about that overtime situation out there. Let's look on the other side of things with Swayman. Let's not just get excited about the colors of the jerseys, boys and girls. We got to do some research about these goaltenders. And Swayman is flying high right now, 95% save percentage, 1.49 goals against average, and a good enough to be a 4-2 record out there. 1 game of break that they give him out there, and he's expected to be the guy to get rolling here today. I think this is a Boston spot. I think you got to start. Now, I don't know that I expect Boston to win the full series, but the rest versus rust factor is very real. The rested team, which you would expect to, maybe have that extra step or advantage in this case, 3-9 in these spots. 3-9 against a team like this Boston, who already beat them 4 times in the regular season. First game of the season, we don't know how this is going to turn out there, and I can fully appreciate anybody I don't want to go out there and lay a minus 160 on a coin flippy situation with the goaltender that's not been performing as well as he did throughout the regular season. Bad situation. That's just not a long-term successful strategy. You look at the Bruins. When they're on the road, they're playing some of the best hockey in the NHL. When they're playing a good team on the road, they're 31-19 this season. We saw they went into Toronto. They shut down that Toronto team up there in Toronto, back-to-back games and rolling out there. I don't expect that to be any different in this case here. Interesting spot. I talk about the rest versus rust situation. 3-9 would be this Florida Panthers trend right now, but the over is 9-2-1 in those spots as well. I double dipped this game as well. I'm on the plus 143 spot there. This line opened at plus 145. It's moved down to plus 143. No question about it. It's going to be a battle. It should be, but I like goals flying. I like goals flying in the first period as well. I'm going to take this first period over. Where's my guy, Joe T? And I got it at a nice plus 105 out there. First period over 1.5 at plus 105 was a second addition out there. We're seeing almost 3 goals on average in that first period. And they just look at that Rangers game. I'm not saying that it's prototypical or that it's the cookie cutter scenario there, but how do teams want to start these series off? They get rolling early. They want to go out there. They want to try a bunch of different game plans to try to find. They probe for those weaknesses. That probing for weakness means they find odd man rushes and opportunities to take advantage here. I like this. Both teams to score at plus 105 in the first period. We got a plus 143 and a plus 105. Hell, even if it's a 1-1 situation, we're still going to get that cash on that first period over. And, maybe we see a little sloppy, undisciplined play. Maybe Boston can catch him early. I do expect goaltending to kick into gear as they get into the later part of the series. That's where we'll see these guys get their confidence. But early series opportunities, again, we saw it yesterday, game 1s of series. It's tough for the goaltenders who are trying to figure things out. Maybe they're trying to go a little side to side and trying to, figure out who's kind of creeping in the back door, trying to sneak a goal behind him there. So I like it. I think, Jay Stone says the Rangers didn't have any rust. Hell, no, they did not. I think that's going to be the team that gets it done out of the East. I did take some future bets yesterday, plus 750 again on the New York Rangers to win the Cup, and then plus 600 on Colorado. I think everybody was sleeping on Colorado And we've shown that they can go out there and dominate. So I wanted to get that series price. I'm going to have to look at a few more books to try to figure that out. But I think Colorado versus the Rangers makes the most sense. It's offensive driven and laden out there. Kelly V says Boston off that tough series. Sorry, Mike. Florida in regulation for me. Well, Kelly V, trends will show you. You play a tough series. You play a physical and gritty series. You keep it rolling, and that's why I expect him to get it done this first game of the series. Now, I expect him to split this situation down there in Florida and then roll back to Boston. I think this one goes probably 6. I think this is going to be a tight series. Should be tightly contested. Boston's got plenty to play for. They showed already 4 straight games of revenge seeking from retribution from that Stanley Cup playoff elimination prior to. So anyhow, that's going to do it for me. I've got the first period over 1.5. At plus 105. I've got the Bruins at plus 143. Money came in early and often on this Boston Bruins team to push that number down to plus 143. So bigger cash coming in, and all you guys love this Florida Panthers team. So it should be a lot of fun to watch. I don't think I've seen anybody say, I know I saw one guy say Boston smash, and that's our guy, Nasty Nate. Shout out, Nate. Saw that big fish you caught there the other day, my guy. Looking good. Lots of fun. Let's go talk about the NBA. We've got a double header, second round playoffs in play out there, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Pacers and the Knicks. Both these games are revenge-seeking opportunities. This line opened at 6.5. It's dropped to 5.5, 66% of the bet, 68% of the cash on the Pacers, and it's dropped it down a point. Subhuman says there's several people on the Bruins. All right, I only saw a couple Florida. I saw a lot of Florida, but I was transitioning through a bunch of screens, so I appreciate that, Sub. And then we look at this total. It's moving on up. 93% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the over in this one. Knicks and the Pacers. We take a peek down here, down injury row, and, when we see this, obviously Bogdanovich still being a factor. Randall, we know, is out. It's Halliburton that's questionable with this back injury, this back tightness. And I expect that to play more havoc as this series goes on as well. These big guys just break down. Halliburton's already dealt with a pretty significant injury throughout the regular season there. And this is definitely going to be a tight spot for him. You'll see on the screen, I've got 2 plays in this game. The first for me is the Knicks in the first half. I talked about this on the sesh earlier today. These teams are in bounce back or revenge spot there. The last time these 2 teams met, it was the Pacers that found victory. And what do we have in those situations out there? If you're in game 1 of a playoff series, you're lost to the opponent as a dog the last time out. They're 26-7 in those spots out there in the revenge situation after losing as a dog in the regular season. Game 1 of a playoff series, they come to bring the game. Now, the New York Knicks are one of the best in the league to do it. 26-7. The New York Knicks themselves boast a 13-1 record in those spots as well. The best to do it better than anybody else in the NBA trend database is this New York Knicks team. The problem I have is that it's a tight margin over the full game. It's like 2 points. It's a bucket. We've seen that what these numbers show me as I was looking through the analysis earlier today. They tend to come out there with about a 6 to 7 point first half lead. And that thing diminishes down to a 5-point victory. Well, 5-point victory means 5.5. This game could be in jeopardy. It's already 2 points over the average line. Now this number's coming down, so it does make sense. I think a lot of times these databases are where the Vegas books come up with their numbers to kind of put these spots out there. But I ended up opting for the Knicks in the first half because the numbers showed me that the stronger play for these guys, catching them sleeping, the big bright lights of Madison Square Garden, the revenge spot. These boys should come out fired up and pissed off. They're at home. They got to dominate. Now, the Halliburton factor is another issue. Maybe they ease him into this series as well. I don't know. This number is 20 points less on the total than it was the last time these 2 teams played as well. I wouldn't be mad at anybody that wanted to consider that first half under. I looked at that at 105.5. But again, in these revenge spots, these NBA playoff spots, I'm seeing that the average total is around 105. I got hooked 3 times last weekend in NBA totals. I'm not trying to fuck with that today. I'm just going to take this New York Knicks in the first half. I could really care less about what happens in this game overall. But I will say, I did roll a parlay. I've got the New York Knicks money line. I've got the Denver Nuggets money line. And I parlayed those 2 together for a plus 120 spot. So just money lines, no points, plus 120. I do like both these teams to dominate. I just get concerned about the points. It's a lot of points. And the margins show these teams play tight. This thing's come down that full point now. You probably missed the Pacers unless you're looking to take them on the money line. That number has dropped from plus 220 to plus 205. 7:30 Eastern in the Garden. New York Knicks first half -3. And as I mentioned, I parlayed together the New York Knicks money line and the Denver Nuggets money line, foregoing those points. Let's talk about the 10 p.m. game, last game on the card. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Everybody's talking about it out there. The Denver Nuggets hosting them Timberwolves. And again, a revenge situation. 70% of the bet, 66% of the cash on the T-Wolves. But we have reverse line movement. This line has gone from 6 to 6.5 with all that money coming in on the T-Wolves. And we have a total that's moved up 1.5 as well. Started at 207.5, is up to 209. 94% of the bets, 95% of the cash, hammering in on this total, on this over. And the big question of the day, what's happening with patient zero? As we mentioned, patient zero has downgraded to questionable. Typically, we talk about line movement and the tell, typically when the player gets downgraded, they're not going in for that game. So as a thorough due diligence has been done, of course, we know Jamal Murray's questionable as well. He's been questionable. He's been questionable for like the last month. So I do expect that to be a just keep him rolling situation. But you got to be ready. You know, shout out to our guy, bench player Billy Briz there, nailing these guys that come in off the bench and crushing this cash flow. What do you do when Rudy Gobert's out? What do you do in that situation? You got to go to Naz Reid. Naz Reid situation out there. Naz Reid when there's no Rudy Gobert has averaged 17 games without patient zero. Naz Reid steps in, 16.5 points, 7 rebounds, 1.9 assists in those spots out there. So what I would look to for some fun is the double-double. Why not take an advantage here with this guy where you know you're going to get 20-1 on your cash? That seems like a great spot. We just have to wait for the official confirmation because not all books have Naz Reid in there at this point in the double-double game. So you got to keep your eyes on that. But I'm jumping in on this Nuggets team. I'm with the Goose and Gander here. This thing has moved now that full point. I like it less. I'm just thinking to myself here. I'm still rolling with it. 6.5 is fine. I still have this game as about a 10-point situation. So 6.5 is fine to me. Home favorites off a home favorite loss in that second round of the series are 26-16. It's a great bounce back spot. I did mention earlier today on the sesh, just kind of a little double dip in there to be on play devil's advocate. The Nuggets off a home loss and a total at 222 are 1-12. They're 1-12. They're losing games outright in those spots. They're 6-7. The average score, they're losing by almost 2.5 points. So I wouldn't go steam chasing this thing past the 6.5. I do not author that. We'll say dogs off a win, giving up less than 100 points in the playoffs, are 0-8 against the spread in those spots as well. So some things to be concerned with. It's the second game of the series. Dogs off a win, giving up less than 100, are 0-8 in game 2 of the series. So that very much is this Minnesota Timberwolves team in that 0-8 spot. But, facing the opponent they lost to last meeting, they're 22-2 in that suggested bounce back situation as well. And I think this is a great bounce back spot. I just don't see there's any possibility these guys lose the second game at home. This number's getting big. If it gets any larger, the way that I would pivot to that is I would take them in the first half and not the full game. Just because I think as we get, the average number we're seeing is around 10 points of victory. So you got to question how tight to that 10 how close to the rail do you want to get when it comes down to it? 6.5, I'm still okay with. Anything more than that, I would look to the first half as the pivot as this game gets later. But certainly lock it in now. Feel free to get it done. I like that Naz Reid spot. Take an eye on Naz Reid. Certainly his points now sitting at 10.5. There's a guy to hammer in on, especially because I expect that there's going to be, even if Rudy Gobert did play, it's got to be on a minutes restriction at this point. So things to look for. Subhuman Goucher says Nugs first quarter is a good way to play it as well. I don't disagree. I'm terrible with first. I'll tell you what, news break for me. I did win that first quarter under in that game yesterday. So I was happy to take that Orlando Magic at, I think it was 49.5. So I did jump in on that under. That's probably the first quarter I can recall winning in 2 or 3 months. So you don't want me on your first quarters, guys. I am not the lucky charm when it comes to that thing, but I think we get after it tonight. Robert Martin says we got to eat tonight, guys. I agree. I think we will, in fact, eat. Loopy U2 says Denver should roll. There's Nasty Nate. He says I took the Nuggets second quarter this morning at -1.5. I like that bet. I like them second quarter bets. Nasty Nate in the house. Subhuman says big bounce back for the Nuggets. Rick J says hip to be square. It is. That is a square ass parlay out there, Rick J. I expect these guys are both in revenge mode. These home teams, where people are going to get burnt, is going to be, I think, with some of these chasing these numbers late. But we're going to get after it. Little Dumbo in the house says want to bet Denver first quarter, but they've been starting so slow. I don't know if I can do it. Brian Watson, Little Dumbo says I got that same money line parlay, Mike. I just added the Dodgers and Phillies to it as well. That's a good look there. I like adding the Dodgers to it. Why not? That might actually make a nice little plus money spot. Subhuman Gotcha says Knicks in the under for him. Rick J likes that Brunson. Anthony, both over 29.5 points, a plus 9.5 out there. Coin says McKenzie is settled in after a rough first inning. Absolutely, you guys. We want to make sure you keep your eyes on that. Don't be afraid to go back to your same number. Now, if they go out there and get blasted like 6-0 in the first inning, you probably don't even want to be live betting that thing anyways. But in that situation, like we talked about, going back and getting plus money on the cap you originally had out there is always a great way to go. Dollar cost average, and you take your -110, you slap it together with a +110. That play just cost you even money spots out there. Rod Z says Jake DeBrusk goal. My guy Rod Z, you've been running super hot with the hockey plays of the day out there. Keep it going, my guy. Good on you. Thanks for popping in for us, guys. Hit that thumbs up button on the way out the door if you have not done so already. And let's get a big winning night here. I'll give you guys the real fast replay here. Seattle first 5, Seattle full game. The team total under 3.5 for the White Sox. The game under 8.5 for the White Sox. The Mets first 5, the Mets full game. And the Oakland A's at +122. I parlayed the Knicks and the Nuggets at +120. I took the Knicks in the first half -3. Denver full game -5.5 is now -6.5. We'll call it 6.5 for the show purposes. And then I've got Boston +143 and first period over 1.5 goals at +105. That's going to do it for us in the evening tonight. Hope everybody gets that cash. Has a great evening. Enjoy the time with the friends and family. The seasons are turning. The playoffs will be over before you know it. So go out there, get yourself some cocktails, and get that money. Shout out to my guy T on the 1s and 2s. Keeping it tight and right for us out there. Follow me over on X at PimpSlapPOD. Anytime I go live, you guys will be in the know. Appreciate you guys coming in here tonight. And until tomorrow, stay palming, baby.